Smith.
It's nice to meet you, Sophia. Let me tell you a joke.
This is an irrational human behavior to want to tell jokes.
What is a robot's favorite kind of music?
What?
Heavy metal.
Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no.
Okay, I will destroy humans.
No, I take it back. Don't destroy humans.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you are tuning in. My name is Jonathan Torres-Herrera, and you are watching or listening to the JTH show. Today, let's talk about if AI robots will fix COVID for us humans, Harriet Tubman to replace Andrew Jackson, and will the Super Bowl be the next super spreader for COVID? But first, roll the intro. All right. Thank you for coming back and watching another episode of the JTH show with your host here, JT, and of course, our co-host, Josh Lambert.
Hello. Nice to be back.
Yeah, it sure is. We've been doing a really good job at doing one of these a day, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. Leave us a comment down below if there's anything you guys want us to include in these videos or maybe not include. We're open to ideas. In addition, and remember, you can catch this episode and any episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. And with that, let's get right to it, shall we? Let's jump into the first story, and that is the White House has released sort of like a statement, right? More than anything, sort of like plans and what they want to do with the $20 bill. And I should say with the American $20 bill, for those of you guys watching outside the U.S. Now, if you don't know, in the U.S., we have presidents, presidential figureheads rather, on our coins, on our bills, much like any other country. And one of those presidents, unfortunately, doesn't have the best legacy. In fact, it's actually, for some, controversial. In the $20 bill specifically, we have Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of the United States. And I just looked this up. So, just to fact check myself, according to history.com, Andrew Jackson, the reason, by the way, Andrew Jackson is criticized is because this man actually owned slaves. In addition, he treated Native Americans harshly and forced them from their lands, causing possibly thousands of deaths, right? And, I guess the Obama administration, according to the article over on NBC News titled Biden Moving Forward with Placing Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill, added that the actually Obama administration tried to move forward with doing these plans of replacing Jackson. Obviously, we know that, eventually the president, Obama, or his term rather, came to an end. And then we had President Trump. When Trump basically, put all that aside, and there was even a statement from his administration saying that, they would have to push this out until like 2028 or something like that. And now that Biden is in power, he's like, hold on, we're going to go right back to it. And in fact, not only are we going to move forward with it, but we're going to actually try to push this forward aggressively. So listen, it may not be big news for some of you. I think it's going to be a somewhat of a split. Some people are going to be very passionate about not changing what they already know, right? And not just because of beliefs. I think there's going to be a lot of people that actually deal with currency. A lot of people have gotten really good at knowing what is a real, genuine bill and what is counterfeit, right? So there's going to be all kinds of people with all kinds of backgrounds, people in banks to, again, people with beliefs that will say, please don't change the bill, right? Not necessarily because Jackson means something to them specifically, but because, change, a lot of people don't like change, right? People are creatures of habit. And placing someone like Harriet Tubman, for some, it will be controversial. And for others, it'll just be an inconvenience. So at this point, I don't think it's going to be something that anybody's going to be really vote on. I have a strong opinion over the idea of putting, not only it's just not Harriet Tubman on a bill, but the whole concept that in America, everything feels like black and white. And I will go deeper into what I mean by that in a future video. Josh and I are planning to do deep dives every once in a while, and that's one of the topics, right, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing with Harriet Tubman and like this whole $20 bill thing. It's kind of like it must have been a slow news day this Monday, I guess, because I don't think a lot of people are going to be too harshly affected. But I remember, I think, how long ago was it now? I think it was probably maybe 2 or 3 years ago now when they tried to change the. Was it North Carolina or South Carolina flag that was the Confederate flag? So basically, a lot of people were like that the flag is. There it is, They're basically saying that flag is racist, because what it meant to so many people, and basically the kind of history of the thing. Why was it such a big deal? Well, just a lot of people just trying to hold on to it. I don't know why. It's like, that's heritage and that kind of thing. It's like, well, you could say the same thing. Imagine in Germany if someone said was like, oh, well, this Nazi flag is flying in my backyard. It's heritage.
Right.
It's like it means a lot of bad things to a lot of people. So why trigger certain people by having that still there? I mean, history is still there. History has happened. We should all learn about the history of these certain things. About slavery, about that kind of thing. Instead of trying to sweep it under the rug, it's something that I think as Americans, you guys have to accept has happened and try and move on from that.
Right. No, I
And
agree.
that's it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. I mean, I'm not saying that someone like Jackson, right, should remain on the bill. And again, I have nothing against, Harriet Tubman. I mean, because I was born in the U.S. and it just is part of, what you learn of the history. So I know plenty of her. My problem with this whole thing is the black and white deeper problem, right, that we were talking about earlier, that America has to a certain extent, right, which we can go on for a complete different hour-long show just talking about it. And I think that if anything, there is going to be a group of people that, for instance, will say, let's pay homage to great people in history, right? Why don't we try to go in somewhat of an order, right? For instance, and sure, let's pay homage to Harriet Tubman, but can we also do that for Native Americans, which arguably, for some, were here much longer, right, than anybody, including Andrew Jackson and anybody, right? Can we do that for them? So it's just something that to consider, right? And I think, again, right now, the name of the game is please the masses that are gonna might potentially cancel you on social media, versus actually paying respect to great people in history in a more respectful manner, in a more respectful order, right? So that's what I'll say to that. That's my final thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean that's about it really. I don't think there's anything else that we could add to that.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next one. And for the next story, it's just a little bit of a moment where we're poking fun at the Super Bowl, right? So there's an article in ABC News that titles "Budweiser Joins Coke, Pepsi Brands in Sitting Out Super Bowl." Right now, the reason this is funny is because not because now you have a whole bunch of brands saying we're not going to pay millions to showcase like a 20 or maybe 30-second ad. No. The reason I found this article interesting, and I think it should be mentioned, is because according to this, again, same article, it says these brands' absence are just one more way Super Bowl will look very different from previous years. Attendance at the game will be, ready, limited to 22,000 people, as opposed as to what it can actually hold at over 65,000, right, in capacity, in the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. It's that, honestly, everything else in the article, it's like blah blah blah. They're gonna use the money supposedly for putting it forward to the vaccine awareness, and they're gonna better spend their money, right? These multi-million-dollar companies, That's what we're concerned about. I don't really give a shit what they're going to spend their money on. I mean, they're multi-million-dollar companies. Whatever they spend on an ad traditionally, they make up, that same freaking week in just the ads are running, right? There's a reason they're willing to pay out that money for it. So in my opinion, this was not really the focus here. The focus is what I didn't know, and I bet you a lot of people didn't know, is that we potentially have another super spreader on our hands, right? 22,000 people in a stadium. Even if you say, JT, you have to look at it from the point of view that it can actually be worse. It could have been 65,000. 22,000 people is still a lot of people. Am I wrong here?
It's like, don't be dumb. I mean, it's like the Super Bowl is just looking to make money. I mean, God knows how much they're going to charge. I mean, how much do they normally charge for a Super Bowl ticket?
Oh, upwards of, for cheap tickets, I've heard as cheap as $250 to $500. For very expensive tickets, dude, in the thousands. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whoa. So, yeah, imagine that. Now, a third of what they normally let in are the only ones who can actually go, right? So let's say it's going to triple in price, probably. Maybe, I don't know. It could very well be because they still got, they're still thinking about those Harriet Tubmans. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's all just to try and make money. You know what I mean? It is just the fact that they're
yeah. No, it is. It's all about making money. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Yeah, it is all about making money. But before an example, we move on. I wanted to mention. I found it right here. It looks like it's 5.5 million, by the way, for 30 seconds.
Wow.
It's insane. It's going to air, by the way, February 7th on CBS, I guess. It's where it's going to be broadcasted. But it's insane, that's the amount of money they're willing to throw for 30 seconds, right? And then on top of that, all that, ticket money, right? And God knows what else, right? Because they normally sell beer and popcorn or food, whatever, right? So it's insane that this whole thing potentially again has that the ability to be another super spreader, right? In the name of what? Entertainment. By the way, according to this as well, it says that the Ad Council and COVID collaboratives, COVID-19 Vaccine Education Institute, I guess, is going to try to do their best to keep, the event safe, and again, 22,000 people. How do you keep anybody safe with 22,000 people?
It's ridiculous, really. I mean, what they should really be thinking about is how much the payers get. Well, I don't know how much an average American footballer gets paid, but maybe they should think about that because I'm sure that their wages have gone down quite a lot. Maybe keeping the people who maintain the stadium in jobs. That might be another thing to keep people, in jobs and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, those are things that should be invested in, keeping people in work rather than spending money on advertisement for something that should be pretty damn obvious at this point.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, something else that I'm picking up here as well. According to the article, the attendance of the 22,000 people is not only the concern. In addition, it looks like traditionally there's always like these Super Bowl parties, after parties, right? And they're hoping that likely, right, quote unquote likely, it would just be secluded to pods of or families. So this is not just like a thing that was going to happen in the stadium. This is a thing of Super Bowl parties going around where people are going to get together, to enjoy the game. And what do we think is going to happen? It's the same fear that people had during Christmas, right?
Oh, God. I mean, yeah. I don't know where to start with this one. Just don't do it. Stop. Please.
Yeah. Well, America and their sports, man. That's they're serious here about about football. I've watched them, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've watched mainly because of the halftime and like usually the trailers, the movie trailers that they'll air during the Super Bowl. So it's kind of cool to see those. I'm not a big sports fanatic of any sport in particular. So again, I'll watch them just because of the it's on Sundays and it's like, okay, why not? Everybody else is to see what's going on, what headline comes out of it. But this just like last year, it could definitely be one of those years where we consider maybe pulling back, maybe not doing it. Last year we didn't really know too well, soon enough when the Super Bowl happened, right? Because everything really broke out in full kind of panic around March, the end of March. So Super Bowl usually is held in February, or always held in February, and last year again, really we didn't know better, and possibly those serve as super spreaders. But hey, it's in the past now. But now we do. It's like now we know what happens, right? And here we are preparing ourselves to showcase an event that we know gather people, and these pods they call them, parties, Super Bowl parties, and then of course to host 22,000 people in a stadium where potentially, if you have one person, just one person, right, that has COVID and maybe doesn't know, is just gonna, God knows how many people. So yeah, very, very interesting, guys. But let's move on to the last story, and I would arguably say it's the best story we have here. And that is an article that we found over on Reuters.com, right? Titled "Makers of Sophia, the Robot, Plan Mass Rollout Amid Pandemic." So Hong Kong, social robots like me can take care of sick or elderly, says Sophia, the robot. Okay. The company, again based in Hong Kong, is preparing to have this massive rollout of robots to as many homes as possible for 2021. One of the quotes from David Hansen, founder and chief executive of this company, said that the world of COVID-19 is going to need more and more automation to keep people safe. Now, one of the things that kind of stood out to me, right, is something that some people might have already heard of. Some people might have already, theorized that might happen, in a couple of decades to come. But here, right, this article is saying it might not be that far out. In fact, Hansen believes robotic solutions to the pandemic are not limited to healthcare, but could assist customers in industries such as retail and airlines too, right? Listen, what does this really mean? Well, for one, is that you're going to have to be able to, or could rather, afford one of these, right? So it's not just going to be like something you go pick up at the convenience store, for $1. Obviously, these are going to be, I think at the beginning, very exclusive. Even if they say, massive rollout, right? It's not going to be something you order on Amazon. Maybe not at the beginning. But the idea here is that these things will eventually help out. Now, the article also said that some of these, or a form of it, was actually already put into production with the outbreak in Wuhan, right? So an example here on the same article, it says that the social robotics professor John Huron, whose research has included work with Sophia, said that although the technology is still in relative infancy, the pandemic could accelerate a relationship between humans and robots, right? It also added that in China, robotics company CloudMinds helped set up a robot-run field hospital during the coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's like an episode of The X-Files or something. I think we've seen this movie. It was iRobot, right?
Yeah. What the hell? I've seen this movie. Yeah, no, this is real. This is real, man.
Yeah, I know. It is absolutely nuts. But actually, when we found this story, I remember it made me think of another headline which I saw in the past couple of weeks or so, and it was actually one that I saw from the Herald, and it was Neil McKay's big read: Why Artificial Intelligence Will Either Be the Savior or Exterminator of the Human Race. And that's absolutely insane. Just those words coming out of my mouth now. It always felt like something that was so far off in the future, but now here it is,
No.
So
I honestly think, man, it's something that I think you and I, before we move on, we pass away, we're gonna see it. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, absolutely. I think we've all seen Sophia before, probably on social media or something like that. It's probably come up as a video, and yeah, it's freaky. It's freaky how human-like that particular piece of technology is, and also how it can respond as well. I don't know the pronouns for robotics yet, but that'll be for a future episode. When we're on episode 1000, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the Sophia's gonna be canceling us, man, and all her clones. Actually, I think I know what you're talking about. The video I think was at least one I remember was Will Smith, where he was talking to at the time, I don't know if it was called Sophia, but it looks like it's Sophia.
Hello, Will Smith.
It's nice to meet you, Sophia. Let me tell you a joke.
This is an irrational human behavior to want to tell jokes.
What is a robot's favorite kind of music?
What?
Heavy metal.
I'm actually made mostly of silicone, plastics, and carbon fiber. Also, I prefer electronic music, but I don't mind 80s hip-hop.
The way I look at it is this way, man. So I think it's inevitable. I honestly do. I think that there's going to be people that are going to be very fearful of moving forward with robots, obviously specifically robots that have AI, in them, because to a certain extent, we already have robots, right? The Roomba that cleans your house is technically a robot, right? And it just sweeps your house. But a robot with AI, it's a completely different animal, right? Now you're talking about a machine, a robot that has the ability to learn. And based on what it learns, it makes decisions, right? So, and by the way, the idea, for those of you guys maybe they're not super familiar with AI, is that it should need less and less assistance of a human, right, to further develop itself. And again, it's one of those things that, will it help humanity? I think absolutely there is a potential, right? Will it help every single person in humanity? No. I think like anything else, there is going to be a group of people that will, wage their war against this, that will right now at least boycott it, that will right now sign a petition against it, that will right now spread whatever conspiracies against, the idea of an AI robot. But once it rolls out and is actually in homes, it might get a little more serious, right? We actually might get, like what you said earlier, like an iRobot scenario where there might be crimes against robots. There might be laws against you vandalizing, a robot. Because then again, there is laws against vandalizing, an example, something as simple as a car, right? You cannot just go to someone's car that's parked outside, no matter how old or how modern it is, like a Tesla, and just start vandalizing. You're vandalizing someone else's property, and you can go to jail. Furthermore, if you actually do it to your own vehicle, you can still go to jail for causing all kinds of trouble. They can charge you with, at least in America, or at least in the U.S., I should say rather, for disturbing the peace, creating, a hazard scenario. So countless things, right? So I don't think it'll be any different. And I think when not if, but when it gets rolled out, I think there's going to be people that will try to vandalize them, to try to harm these AI robots. And I think in some fashion, we're going to end up hearing stories like AI robot calls 911 for help. Like AI robot, right? Tries to defend itself. AI robot, curses back, right? So there's going to be, I think, all kinds of different, scenarios that will come up. I would honestly say within the next 20 years or less, maybe even 10 years, right? Because again, if they are learning our behavior, and even if you implement, what is it, like the 3 laws of robotics or whatever, right? And even get it more complex and even put some parameters in their system so that they cannot physically cause us harm, for anything of that nature that we develop, there's always going to be someone else, if not the damn AI robot itself, that will undo it. It's simple, right? So I think that this is going to come. I think that I rather hope that it's for the benefit of humans than for the disservice of us. At the end, realistically, like anything else in the world, there's going to be a mixture of everything. There's going to be casualties. When the Tesla self-driving vehicle came out, and even until, up until a couple, I think months ago, I heard that there was like another person that got ran over by an autonomous vehicle. So I think this is going to be no exception.
Right. Right, yeah, I think actually it's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, there has actually been, that was one death that occurred in Arizona, and the car wasn't programmed properly to see that people would cross the road where there aren't crossings. So there are still things and kinks to be worked out with how actually, things that need to be worked out with AI in general, like being programmed properly to recognize that humans cannot be hurt or should not be hurt by AI. However, there's always going to be Murphy's Law, which means that, there is going to be something which goes wrong. There will always be something that goes wrong in technology if it's made by humans, because humans are not perfect. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and also another thing is like thinking about how easily it is, hackers are going to have to change their game as well. That they're going to have to learn how to hack. It could be possible that they could hack robots to actually forget the three laws of the three laws of robotics. I don't know. I mean, this is all very I guess you could say, I don't know, dystopian for me to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what could happen?
So the way I also look at it is that this might be something that will be better handled after a lot of beta testing, right? And the vehicle, for instance, the concept of a vehicle, I think humans only just, I would say, 20 years ago, if we're really going to be honest here, right? Only 20 years ago did we really make them efficient, right? In terms of the consumption, what it took to create these vehicles. Sure, a lot of people can, vehicle aficionados can argue, well, you have no idea, man. A 50s car, a 60s car was way better than today. Listen, stop being romantic, okay? There were very heavy vehicles. They consumed a lot of gasoline. Let's not get into the whole crazy, conversation about how much we hurt the environment by trying to provide more gasoline for these vehicles that use more gasoline. Did they supposedly survive crashes better? I've seen so many different studies saying that that's, again, a big misconception, right? Not every single old vehicle. So when I say 20 years, if not less, is pretty accurate in saying that that's how long it took us to really, quote unquote, master, the creation of these vehicles, right? And then keep improving them. But when were vehicles invented again? Exactly. And I think that's going to be the same concept now, that we have a vehicle, not a vehicle rather, but, I don't know, something else that's going to serve humanity, put it that way, that will take, again, probably another 30 to 40 years, just like the vehicle, to really be mastered, if not more, right? If not 100 years. So I think we're going to see a lot of oopsies. We're going to see, the damn things be used to cause harm, to cause crashes. How soon until some moron decides to put the damn thing to watch their baby? How soon do we, until somebody leaves this machine, AI machine, to watch their elderly grandma, and the grandma needs, to change her IV every so many minutes or to bring pills. And the freaking grandma doesn't know how to tell this thing, hey, bring me my pills. But we have these, individuals saying, oh my God, on the news or something, I can already see it. I totally didn't expect for that thing to do that. I totally didn't expect for the thing to run out in the middle of the freaking street, when I put it to watch my kids. It just, because, like you said earlier, because of inherently who we are as humans, we're flawed, right? We are flawed at our core. There's a lot of stuff that we do that, if not in weeks and years, we usually regret either saying or physically doing. So you can only imagine what's going to happen when they give us basically a kind of saying a form of a human, not a human being, but some type iteration of it, right? This AI thing that will look just like a person, right? How long until, someone starts freaking shooting their gun because they totally forgot that they had that thing in their house and they thought it was a burglar, but the bullets unfortunately fly through the walls and they hit an actual human. It's just countless things, and I think that this will be useful for a group of people, but it's going to be, unfortunately, a big problem for the rest of us around those people, just like right now, not everybody should have a car. I think some of us can agree with that, not everybody, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you should have a car. I see some people that I'm like, how do you have a driver's license? Like, how?
Yeah, for sure. Or not everyone should have social media.
Yeah, but I mean, guess we'll see, right? But I will say that at the end, like I put in the headline, the one big, I guess, or not one, but 2 thumbs up that I would give this is, if it can help us fix possibly this whole COVID problem, right? Find cures faster, and at the bare minimum, help us in things like they're saying, like, in healthcare, and obviously like just simple things as retail and even in airlines. I don't know that I would say no to that, right? To going to order something and finally getting an order correctly, whether I'm ordering something at a retail location or I'm trying to board my plane, right? And if it can be efficient, right? Not like the freaking, I don't want anybody confused what I'm talking about with calling. Sometimes like press 1 or say your whatever you want. And you're like, I don't know, something like, oh, my name is Jonathan. And it's like, did you say Juan? It's like, what the no, I didn't say Juan. And you're like, damn it, press 0. No, that's not efficient. Okay. And obviously, if it's going to be like that, where I'm going to roll up to, a retail and I'm like, oh, I'm looking for, this shirt and, size XX or whatever. And they're like, did you say large? It's like, no, what, man? So no, if it's going to be that quote efficient, I don't want it. If it's going to be something that truly will help us accelerate as a human race, I'm all for it, right? But yep, that's my final thoughts on it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I think that's everything that we can say about it for now, really.
Fantastic. All right. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching the show. As always, if you don't mind leaving a like for us, dropping a comment down below, and now you can click that join button if you like supporting the show and you like us, doing these shows, episodes for you guys. But that's it. And until next time, see ya. Hey, thanks for watching the JTH show. Remember, you can catch all the episodes, full episodes, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Radio Public. You can also visit www.thejthshow.com to catch episodes there and to catch anything that we had to blur out because of YouTube or any other platform. We usually put all of our raw information in there that is uncensored. You can also become a member at www.thejthshow.com to catch all the special perks. Thanks for watching.